So this is the new experiment, and this is how we tend to think that we are going to capitalize on that in order actually to be fast runners. Okay? When it comes to ports, we are still one more time looking to the world-class quality. His Excellency, the Ambassador of Singapore, is here. So he knows that we are currently, and we hope we succeed in these negotiations, we're currently negotiating, for example, with Port of Singapore Authority to operate the Eastern Port Said port. We'd like to have the top-notch port, not in Egypt, but in the world. So we went and said, who's number one in ports? And we are negotiating, and then if the negotiations fail, we'll go for number two, but I hope they don't. So this is what we want to do. Remember I talked about location is not in itself, you know, something that you capitalize on unless actually you are linking. We have the advantage of this port, but this port is not going to be attractive unless it is operated with a world quality class that is really different. We enjoy the fact that we don't have customs. We enjoy the fact that these ports are within our piece of land. So the decision was, I'd like the container in less than 10 minutes to be out of the port and into whatever factory it is. We don't have customs, so there is no need actually for any of the bureaucracy that is going in any of our ports. We will only test for explosives and drugs. And there are so many new and technological, it's not X-ray, it's a different type of ray, but there are new machines where the containers can pass through, and I don't even need to open the container. When it comes, and this actually takes us to the fourth, class of parameters when you are talking about competitiveness. Remember, I talked about the location, I talked about the infrastructure, and I talked about the procedures and the ease of doing business. So we want to what kind of incentives we have. Well, we don't have customs, and we're willing to sort of customize the package of incentives depending on the investment we are trying to attract. Because we could actually do the training on your behalf if you promise that you are going to give employment. The KPIs that we have set for our authority are not actually, most of them are not actually regarding our financial statement. Of course, it's nice to come up, with lots of profits at the end of the year. But we're looking at how much we are contributing to the GDP of Egypt. So it's not about that we have a piece of land and we are collecting some money for this piece of land. I would like really to know if I'm really contributing to the Egyptian GDP. I'd like to know how many employment opportunities I'm generating for Egyptian youth who are looking for employment. So probably when we're looking into things, we are looking into some of the industries that will generate what we call high-density employment. Of course, we are targeting also heavy industries in the south and Sokhna. We are targeting refineries and petrochemicals and so on. But we have different sets of packages, actually, that we are targeting to investors. Within the authority, one more time, we're wearing all 7 T-shirts together. We're a full team. We are in charge of our legal and regulatory framework. We're in charge of registration and licensing. We're in charge of the infrastructure. We are set actually to cooperate and partner with our investors. We can set up companies on our own or partnership with others. We are going to operate our ports. We collect taxes on behalf of the Egyptian government, so you don't have to deal with the Egyptian government, and we are actually going to settle your dispute and do your arbitration in that place. So you come to one place, you find all. In case you are thinking that there is a conflict of interest, the answer is yes, but we are set internally in this authority. This is part of what I used to do in a previous life as a consultant and governance for states and for corporate governance. So we don't have actually the legal and regulatory department reporting to the same line of reporting for those who are doing the licensing and so on. So the authority is set in such a way to avoid any conflict of interest between all 7 activities that we are doing. I don't want to use all my time. In fact, I used all my time, all my 15 minutes, but I'm not sure if we are allowing any questions or we are not. This is up to you. But, you know, I will be happy to receive any questions. I like to stop over here. I hope I teased you enough with some of what we are doing.
Let's take 2 questions.
Sure.
Moncheri Bai, I am the Business Development Director for Kharafi National in Egypt. I would like to know the mechanism of checking for the current infrastructure projects in the new economic zone, the means of contribution, the means of engagement, and we're working as an out of the economic zone contractor, but we are interested to be as a developer as well. For whom to check or how to check the current the menu which is available there?
We have lots of requirements for infrastructure. Our estimate for the 4 pieces of land we have is until 2030 we will be needing something like 6,000 mega of electricity and 500,000 cubic meters of water. We are open for different models. Most of the contractors and the vendors and those who major players in infrastructure all over the world, they have visited me in my office. And my answer was very simple, because you know, you see someone who needs 6,000 mega of electricity, he will be approached by all the big names. We are ready, we have the best turbine, we are the most efficient, and so on. And I answered in a very simple way. I said, look, if I go to the bank and get a loan, and by the way, I have like 5 or 6 banks who are willing to give me money, which tells that more or less we are promising, because banks don't give money unless they are sure that you are going to repay. So they see something. If I go to the bank and get a loan, I see no advantage for Kharafi versus the rest. I will tender it out. I will be transparent. Deborah spoke about transparency. I'm the one who, you know, started this transparency issue in 2006. But, Sharif, you have a different way of approaching me. You can come to me with your own investment. And you say, Ahmed, I want a piece of land, and I want a license to operate an electric plant and an electric distribution company and a water distribution company. I'm going to build some sort of an electric plant and a water desalination plant, and I'm going to sell directly to the investor. This way, I could give you a piece of land, and I look into the regulatory issues, how to give you a license. I want to make sure what's the service level agreement between you and my customer, because at the end of the day, I want to protect my customer. I want to assure him that the electricity, there is a continuation. I want to make sure that the water desalination plant you are operating has an availability of 90 to 95%. So there are things that relates to that, and I want to assure what kind of monopoly versus competition you will have. Maybe, too much competition will kill the process. Very little competition, monopoly is not so good to the customers. This is what I'm going to do, but I'm so flexible in terms of that. So though, if you come to me with your own money, it makes a hell of a difference than coming to me and say, I can build you the best electric plant. This I'm not sure of until I tender. Does this answer your question? We have lot, eastern of Port Said is a green field. We did not yet contract any of the electricity and water for the eastern Port Said, so we are really open for that. Sokhna, we have some of it. Western Kantara, we are getting the water and the electricity from the grid. So we have different, in these 4 different pieces of land, we have different approaches for each one of them. One more question?
Yeah.
Tariq Hatem, the American University in Cairo. Just a quick question. I know how you are involved with education and knowledge and technology and so forth. What's the plans for universities and education and creating a knowledge hub? Are you associated at all with these?
I take both questions together. I'm sorry, I did not see your hand. I'm really sorry.
First of all, actually, congratulations to you and to
Well, I don't need the congratulations.
Okay.
I need prayers and so many
that's
other
right.
things.
I mean, just an introduction, because who knows what will be the question. Anyway, when we will be actually seeing on the ground, I don't mean on the ground, at least the project, the whole project of this fantastic, great area of 400 kilometers. This is something actually, when we will see it, let's first look for us as Egyptians, and I know how you think of Egypt. To see something, at least on piece of paper, on a website, about what will be there generally. This will be very inspiring. Thank you.